you know, and it must be challenging in a way, but really like different, and get to play that on series television.
It's so fun, and it's so rare to be able to speak these words that they write. I mean, it's just everything. It's just so brilliant.
I mean, the glory of it is that not only is it about change, but the staff is not afraid to write 10, 12, 13, 14 page scenes. Mm-hmm. And you usually don't see that.
No.
And it just goes and goes and takes dips and turns, and it's fun. And then they write a show like the Fly episode, and it becomes in some way like a two-character play at some points. But just it's juicy, and we love that, you know, just to be able to sink in and devour, you know, scenes like that.
How many saw the Fly episode? That's one of. That's got to be one of the all-time great television episodes.
You know, I think people either go, I love that episode, or that episode I don't like.
Oh, it was just.
Who didn't like the Fly episode? And those who are.
That was a director, I've seen a couple of his films, but Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Ryan Johnson.
Fantastic director.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson is the real deal. He's got a movie coming out called Looper, which I've been fortunate, my writers and I, some of them have been fortunate enough to see. It's going to be awesome. It is awesome. He's a real deal. Well, all of our directors are fantastic. And that episode was born of monetary necessity. It was born out of financial necessity because we were desperately over budget, so we needed a bottle episode. We needed something that would save us some money. And indeed, we did save a good amount of dough on that because it all took place basically in one set. But that is actually, for my money, one of the best ones we ever did. And it was Moira Walley-Beckett, who's here tonight, and Sam Catlin, who is not, unfortunately, here tonight. They are both former actors and playwrights, and they gave us our Waiting for Godot episode, essentially. Yeah.
It's a good way to put it. And now, you know, Giancarlo, I am sorry. I told you backstage I was sorry about your demise because it's one of the most fascinating characters on television, Gus.
Oh, thank you.
And he's so powerful, even after this, I just have a feeling he'll find a way to come back.
Well, we don't know that. You know, the one thing I don't have to worry about, as like Deed's worried about, got up and said, what, we're done? Well, I'm done. I'm toast. It's always hard to see, you know, someone that, a character that you put your soul into, and you collaborate with such really incredible artists to do that, to let that go. And there's always some holding on that happens afterward because you become fond of that human being that is a part of you, an extension of who you are. But now it's been a few months out, and I'm kind of like surrendered and released. And I can honestly say, look, I can say to the maestro whatever you want. So I don't have any real answers, but you know, it's been a really wonderful experience to be a part of this show. And to do something that's out of the ordinary or extraordinary, to be able to further what I do. I feel like the gift has been given to me. And I honestly feel this way. It's every step that I take as a human being and an actor and is to connect. And from the day that I stepped off the van and the first person I saw was Bryan Cranston, who welcomed me on that day when I went out to Albuquerque with one of my daughters, and I wasn't feeling very well, and he was the first face I saw, and I kind of looked at him and said, oh, he looks a little bit familiar, but I couldn't quite place him. But what I could place.
A big fan of the show previously. Had we known that.
What I could place was that it was a connector. And that's what we do is about, and I think that's what makes this show special.
Yeah, and for you, yeah, coming into it and playing him, because boy, this is a guy we see it through the expressions, it's visual, you know, through your eyes, the way you do this. I mean, how do you get into that? How do you get into Gus? Because it's not an external role at all, really.
No, and I've done many external roles, and I think what happens for me is I just try to find a place where I can find some peace and solace. So I start to try to breathe deeply, and I think a lot about what I might do in meditation. I've said it before, and I say it like in a lot of interviews. Actors love to act, and we love to be, in the limelight, in front of people, and it sort of is an enthusiastic feeling when we get that electricity from out there. I'm a theater actor, and I love the fact that Waiting for Godot was mentioned tonight, because I didn't know the show, and my manager as a director, Josh Kesselman, sent me a copy and begged me to look at it. When I did, that's what I thought of. I thought of Waiting for Godot. I said, wow, this is fantastic. So I had no idea, I said, well, I'm gonna play a glorified waiter. I'm like at this restaurant, and I've done that in my life, so no thanks. Oh yeah, Los Pollos, yeah, okay. Walking around, did you get enough? Would you like another drink? Is your chicken all right? I said, oh shit, I'm out of here, baby. No, thank you. I mean, it's Cranston's show. I love him, he does great, but it's not me. But and that was my first impression. But then I looked further, and I said, wait a minute. Although I don't know where they're going with this, there is a secret here. And that is the key. I want to do this, and I want to keep that secret for as long as Vince wants me to keep it. And then extend that to a deeper level. And it caught me. It really caught me. But I think what really got me to begin with was to be with such a very attentive scene partner who would put his attention on me, which allowed me to put my attention on him, and to start to create what Armin Mueller-Stahl said to me once, some beautiful music together. So that's how I feel. It's simple.
Yeah.
You can't pass that up.
Yeah. And I want to do a shout out too to Mark Margolis, who played Salamanca, which is like, you watch that guy act there. It's extraordinary. It really is. And I'm sorry to see he's gone. You're just getting rid of everybody.
Well, but we love playing with time on the show. We love going back in time and going forward in time, and therefore it can be said with a great amount of accuracy that nobody's ever truly dead on Breaking Bad. So, you never know.
That's why they trucked him out over there, so he's not truly dead. He's going to get up all the way.
Right. But those scenes you played with him were really great. I mean, between the two of you. And
well, when you're able to have, again, all I think I can say to be really humble about it is that we have great writers in the audience, many of whom are here tonight, and a really great, fearless leader who is a collaborator. And when you feel that comfortable, from the moment I walked out of that van and saw Bryan's face, I thought of who is at the top of the chain, and then I met all the crew who all knew the storylines, who knew what was going on, who read every script. I said, this is a different experience. This is a family experience, and it is exactly what I asked for. I said, I'll come back to this if I could be a member of this family, because this is the kind of family that grows you. This is the kind of family that reminds you of why you do what you do. And so I really mean that. When you have a fearless attitude, I don't think, I met a guy the other day in the airport just 2 days ago who was one of the people that was a friend of Vince's who helped get this all going. And he came up to me and asked for an autograph and told me the whole story of his relationship to Vince. And I realized then that there's a fearless attitude. You do what you do, like as an actor, you do what you do, and you hope it lands, and you hope it fits, and you hope it blends, and you hope it connects. And so if you're fearless in that way with your craft, as I believe Vince was, I heard the whole story of how this thing was on the shelf and got pulled off. This wasn't going to get made. But there was a sense of, it didn't matter because this is my work. I'm going to bring this. And if we can open that shelf again and look at it, maybe someone will find that this has merit. And then if we can actually get the opportunity to put our energy into it, maybe it can sound and resound and be truthful. And so there was a lot of different parts of this that resounded for me. One was that there was a huge drug problem in the middle America, and no one was addressing it. The other was that there was a huge economic problem with American families, and no one's been addressing it. So here we have a show that's cutting edge, that's entertaining, but it's addressing a lot of very interesting and subtle issues on a major level. So I have very, very deep and abiding respect for all of the filmmakers, each and every one, who put their energies into this particular show, because that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, that's great. And it is true, and it's not a show too that's not afraid to do whole scenes in Spanish or in subtitled stuff that we see that rarely goes on in television series too. So you're really breaking ground all over the place.
Maybe a little German coming up, season 5.
A little. Oh, really?
One tiny little spoiler.
Wow. Now, Betsy, I'm so happy you could be here tonight because we didn't know you were on and off. But thank you for coming out here. It wouldn't be the same without you. And yes, we love Marie. And I'm so happy you're back to stealing stuff.
I have to come over and give you a hug because when we first came out, I just, I was
Easy, watch those hands, Pete.
Yes.
Because this is big, and I thought, oh my God, we're just supposed to sit down, take our seat, not mess up the chairs. That would have bothered me the whole time if I didn't say anything.
No, but you are back to stealing stuff now.
She just took your wallet.
I
Give it back.
Nice.
That's why she went over there.
I get it now.
I also took your cell phone. We were in the group. It's in my purse.
Let me ask the question I asked Aaron. Did you research this role too? Do you have a collection of things you may have lifted along the way?
It wasn't research, but I have a weird thing. I steal small spoons.
Ah.
And really, I do. And I don't think you knew that.
No.
Yeah, and I'm like, I must have told somebody when I saw that episode. Not from people, not from, just from restaurants. Like little demi-tasse spoons, and then I have friends that will steal them for me. Like if they're like, oh, I went to Italy, I got you the spoon. And yes, so yeah, but I didn't research that. That was just something that I did. I have my best spoon is from Air Portugal.
Really?
On the airplane.
All right. Other than stealing spoons, this season's been interesting because obviously Hank has become a paraplegic, and he's had this whole accident, and obviously, so you're now become a major kind of caregiver for him, and it's a different dynamic in your relationship together too.
Yes.
And is that tough? Have you learned something about yourself in playing this role? Like, I know the bedpan.
I've learned more about Dean. I've learned more about Dean than I wanted to know. I said to Dean when we were shooting the pilot, I said, I love these two. I'm glad we're us and not those two because I think they're gonna have some trouble down the road. I just was my hunch. Was my guess. And we just always had fun. And I always thought that even before this season, it was just so apparent. There was so much love between these two characters. Yeah. So it just made me happy that as the seasons went on, I just felt gradually we saw more and more of that. And it was so fun to play. And I love Dean even when his character is being really awful to me. You are awful to me.
I know, yeah, there are scenes where you really get mad at him. She went and bought that magazine or whatever it was for him, and he
The fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy football, and he just out.
Not even a thank you. Not even a thank you.
Fantasy football, like
where's
a hustler or something.
Where's my Cheetos? I'm not going to buy you porn, okay?
And the bedpan scene couldn't have been easy. I mean, that was.
He wanted to do that again and again.
Yeah. Really.
Dean's a method actor.
Method actor. He actually.
It was not hygienic.
Maybe a little more coffee.
When I read that, I thought that was just a fantastic scene. And I was glad that we started the season, at least for me, I was glad that my character got to start off with that. And I saw it, to me, that scene was, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, And I think I've always had the feeling with this couple that they would do anything for one another, and then we get to see that. I mean, it really is, it's a beautiful relationship. And I really love that juxtaposed with all the other stuff that goes on in the show. I mean, it's nice to see that. It's beautiful. I mean, in this whole family, they care about each other. That's one of the things I really love is, there's this dark world, you know, the drug world, or as I call the hoodlum world that, you know, that everyone lives in. And then, you know, there's this family, this really loving family, and it's so real and so sincere. And it just, all the other stuff that's going on just raises the stakes and all of that. Some of it we know about, some of it we don't, but it's so much fun to do.